Welcome into the world's greatest podcast in America. Feeling optimistic today, feeling positive. Been on the phone with the internet provider. They've assured me they've got this fixed. We'll see how long it lasts. John Reed here in Tennessee, Cody McClure in California. What's up, Cody?
Hello, John. It's a good day here. Good to be here. Good to be anywhere. You're looking and sounding good, so hopefully we're off to a good start today.
Well, at the
Um,
very least, the webcam is finally working properly and I look nice and clear. At the very least.
yeah, yeah. Growing a little beard out, I see.
Just a little bit. Not
Yeah.
much of one. A couple months ago, it got really long around Christmas after you left. It had gotten really long, but right now, nothing crazy.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's coming into shape. So I'm doing good. It's raining here. How's your weather?
A little chilly, but nothing to complain about. It was pretty cold this morning, like 26 degrees or so, but it's all good.
I was looking at. I keep track of weather in a lot of different cities. Just out of
Uh huh.
curiosity.
Weird, but
And
okay.
yeah, I know. My mom looks like back home they got good weather this week. She's got days in the 70s and sunshine, and it's looking. Her weather looks better than mine this week.
What's yours looking like?
Well, it's raining the next 2 days. There's more thunderstorms here in this area, and then it's. I think the sun's going to come out maybe like Thursday or something, but highs are only like in the low 60s, so it's not perfect.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
56 today, or 55 today, 56 tomorrow, 61 on Wednesday. Tennessee baseball getting started with home games on Tuesday and Wednesday. So 61 degrees is is not bad to go sit and watch
No.
a baseball game.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all for baseball. Did they win yesterday?
They did 2-1 over the weekend.
Okay, I saw that they won Friday and then they lost to Oklahoma, but I didn't even see what happened yesterday. I didn't download that whatever thing for it. I wasn't going to pay for that to watch the first three baseball games. I don't I don't think I care that much about baseball. I've been really following along with basketball. It's kind of hard for me to get into the new sport when it comes, like when it's football season in November, it's hard for me to get into basketball. And then once I get myself into basketball, it's kind of hard for me to get into baseball. So I probably won't really start following this team till maybe April.
Postseason into May, right when it's time for the regionals.
Yeah, yeah. But I've really been keeping up with basketball. I think we got a good chance this year with this team. So I'm excited about the basketball team. You gotta win both games this week, and then you got to beat Auburn. I've decided you have to be 22-6 to have a chance to win the conference because those last three are going to be tough.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite when it comes to the new season. I am always raring and ready to go. Especially this year, I was over the football team, so I was ready to watch basketball. And then, of course, you see from the get go just how good Dalton Connect was going to be and how fun the basketball team was going to be. So then I was really ready. You know, the Thanksgiving tournament didn't go great against Purdue
Yeah,
and Kansas, but otherwise it's been a fun season. I don't know if you can hear my duck over here quacking. Frank's sick.
yeah. What's wrong with it? You got
I don't know.
the
He keeps coughing. I don't know if he's trying to cough up a hairball or if he's got. It's a little rattly. I'm gonna have to take him to the vet and see.
yeah.
So if you hear a duck quacking, it is not an actual duck. It is my miniature wiener dog hacking himself up.
That's just Frank coughing up a hairball or two there. Hopefully he'll be all right. Yeah, there he is. What a
But yeah, I'm
beautiful
ready
animal.
for the new season when it comes. But baseball, I'm excited to watch them in particular. I've been excited about. Uh, I've listed a lot of my tickets. I do the patron giveaways for the tickets, and then outside of that, I've listed some for sale to get a little cash flow coming in to pay for all this goddamn podcast equipment, and people seem to be really excited. So,
Oh
by the way,
yeah.
if anybody's listening, Wednesday tickets, just holler at me, or Friday opening weekend, holler at me.
I do find this time of the year to be a little tough, like when football is officially over. Yesterday was the first Sunday with no football at all. It always reminds me of Hunter S. Thompson and how he killed himself at this time of the year. Once football officially ends, you get the notepad out and you start kind of crafting up that suicide note just in case.
Well, you know, once football season's over, winter officially sets in. And then you get kind of yo-yoed around, and you think winter is almost over because you get to maybe wear short sleeves or light sleeves for a couple days, and then it comes back and kicks your ass for a couple more weeks afterwards. But when you actually start looking at stuff to get excited for, I mean, I don't have a kid to take on spring break.
No.
I got no friends getting married in the spring or summer to invite me to. I'm not getting married in the spring or summer. Yeah, you can go lay by the pool or go, do that, but I'm a little out of shape. I get a little depressed about being a little chunky, and I don't have any friends that have a boat that ever invite me on their boat. So like it's bleak. You just start
Yeah.
looking forward to next football season. You start counting down for 7 or 8 months. Like, okay, if I can just make it to August, if I can make it to September, man, those weeks will be fun. And then this past year, you had to watch Joe Milton, and you're like, oh my God, this is even worse.
Might as well just not even have football season if you got Joe
Might as well
Milton at
just.
quarterback.
And then between that and the Titans, you're like, oh my God, I waited all year for this shit. And then, yeah, all of a sudden that pistol on the dresser starts looking a little bit more enticing.
Well, at least NASCAR season's getting fired up. I think the Daytona 500 is today. I guess they pushed it back for rain. I don't know. I can't find it on TV. Like, it's not even listed on the programming. So
I'd imagine it'll come on Fox or FS1 right around 4:30 or so.
yeah, somebody told me they were running it today. So I might watch some of that. I don't know. I doubt it. That's
Well, I
usually
told
the one.
you, you know me, I've boycotted NASCAR since Denny Hamlin wrecked. Or I don't know if you were there when that happened to me or not. I guess you were still gone to Nashville. But I got into NASCAR during COVID. I got
Yeah.
really into NASCAR during COVID. It was one of the things that was on TV. I got into gambling on it, and Pocono of 2021 or 2022. I don't remember which one, but I had Denny Hamlin. He was up by like 8 seconds. He had an 8 second lead. He was cruising with about 6 laps left, and then the son of a bitch ran into the wall and wrecked.
Yeah,
And I said, that's it. I'm not watching another fucking NASCAR race ever again. I'm done. No more. I did the same thing to UFC, man. I got really into UFC during COVID because, you needed something to gamble on and some sports on. And I got really into UFC. And then one random Saturday night, I was on the wrong side of like 4 decisions. And everyone on the internet was agreeing because I'm not an expert, but everyone on the internet is like, oh my God, how do these judges make these decisions? This guy clearly won. And I was on the wrong side of like 4 or 5 of those in one night. And they're talking about this is the worst officiated night of all time. And I said, never mind. I'm out on UFC as long as my guy Chimaev isn't fighting. If he's fighting, I'm watching. But outside of that, I'm done with UFC. I'm done with NASCAR.
best to just stick to those big three, football, basketball, and baseball.
And WWE.
Yeah, yeah. Work a little. Can you gamble on WWE?
They said they were workshopping that in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Weird.
I think Colorado was going to be the only state that allowed it at first. I mean, you've been able to do it on offshore accounts. If you like in Ireland, I think there's like Bet365 or something like that. They're a big gambling website, and they'll always have wrestling props, at least for like the Royal Rumble and such. But yeah, they had talked about doing it in Colorado. If you watch, you'll get commercials every now and then for like their DraftKings, but it'll be like a free contest. It's just like pick 7 or 8 things that's going to happen in the night, and whoever gets the most right, or if you get all 8 right, you get like $100 or something. But in Denver, they were actually talking about being able to bet on the matches and trying to hire the right accounting firms that can like audit it and like make sure the results are locked up and no one's leaking it. But to answer your question, yes and no, yes and sort of.
I feel like there's a real route there for like insider gambling. So, somebody that knows the storyline outcomes, kind of like
Yeah.
insider trading or whatever.
Yeah, and like a lot of times when they would have it offshore, like the obvious answer would be really, really juiced. So it'd be like minus 2,000 versus
okay.
like plus 800. So like you would have, it would basically be a spoiler. But every now and then there would be a big upset. Like I remember when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. Like to start the day, he was like plus 3,500. And then someone found out, and like people kept betting on it and betting on it. And by the end of the night, it was only like plus like 500 or so.
Yeah, that was Undertaker's first loss, right?
Right. So like somebody had gotten to it, but like on those sites they kind of cap you. It's like $20 maximum bet, so it's like you can get rich or anything. It's just to like draw interest and kind of like the people that watch football because of their fantasy teams, if you will.
I feel like Undertaker should not have lost twice at WrestleMania. I know that like all streaks are made to be ended. Some people didn't want the streak to ever end. Some people wanted someone other than Lesnar to break it. But either way, I feel like they should have only made him lose one at WrestleMania instead of losing two.
Once you lost once, what's the difference between losing twice?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see The Rock on Friday? Not to turn this into a wrestling podcast, but did you see The Rock?
No.
He came out wearing his $500 shirts, looking just like corporate Rock from back in the late 90s. He told Utah they had set a record of 20,000 people, which was the largest gathering of trailer park trash that had ever happened before in the state. And then made comments about going back home to their 50 wives. So he was working full-fledged hill on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made me feel nostalgic.
The largest grouping of trailer trash, huh? It's is Utah's known for trailer trash, I guess.
I gotta say the promo wasn't great, but he was at least trying to offend people. But it was funny because then on Sunday I saw him at the press conference for the Daytona 500 because he's a big partner with Fox and everything. And I wanted to say, you can't be putting down trailer park trash and then hanging out at the Daytona 500.
Yeah,
you gotta pick a lane, bro.
Yeah, you got to do one or the other. I feel like Utah is kind of known for being like uppity whites, in my opinion. I mean, when I think trailer trash, I think more so of like, Alabama or something like that. Utah, you got those mountains up there. Utah's full of like skiers. Those people go up to, what's the name of the place? Not, it's up by Salt Lake City. Not, there's Ogden, and then there's some
Breckenridge.
That's Colorado, I think. But there's Park City. Park City, I think that's what it is in Utah. That's where all the like snowboarders and skiers go. I feel like that's an uppity white kind of area, but I don't know. There's probably some trash there too. There's trash everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was just playing the hits. He probably was used to being in rural southern cities back in the 90s. I doubt they went to Utah very often, so the trailer park trash usually worked and hit hard, but not in a state like Utah. But the 50 wives thing, I mean, that was the right state for that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a easy thing to attack the Mormons for. I mean,
he also insulted the Utah Jazz about how they lost to Michael Jordan and the Bulls, so a very timely reference from 26 years ago. So The Rock was in peak form, I guess. It was like he had dusted off a promo from 1998 because that's the last time anybody cared about the Chicago Bulls Utah Jazz series.
I feel like Utah has to be one of the highest concentrations of whites. Got to be, right? Because in the South, you got a lot of whites, but you've also got a lot of black people and Mexicans in the South. But there's certain areas of the country where I feel like if you're just wanting to be surrounded by whites, Utah's got to be up there. Like there can't be a lot of black guys in Utah outside of like, the NBA team, other than the Jazz players. I don't think there's a lot of African-American population there.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think you'll know, but you can Google it if you want. But I'm pretty sure the NBA All-Star Game last year was in Utah. So a lot of people went to it, and I did watch like a little like content. I don't think it was like a documentary. It was just like somebody doing content about hanging out as a black person in Utah and like going to they went to like barbershops and was talking, and they did find some black people there. They're like, "No, we love Utah. It's great. Like it's he's like, yeah, we get looked at a little weird sometimes, but people usually like having us around and want to show that they're the good white people that don't care that black people are here. So he's like, it's good, and like it's all about like how the other black people there kind of stick together and support each other's businesses and everything. But there are at least some black people in Utah that don't play in the NBA.
I think those states that are like north to the far north and kind of not west, like not the Pacific Northwest, but like far north central. I feel like that's the widest area. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. Those people are all pretty much white, I feel like.
Do you have any theories why?
Black people don't like the cold, maybe? I don't know. No, that's not true because there's a lot of black people in Chicago and New York. So I don't know. That like Fargo, North Dakota, got to be a pretty white city. Snow, white. I don't know. There's some correlation there. Maybe not. I don't think I could live in a place like that. Like, even though you have so much natural beauty, there's just no population.
My theory maybe is more so about this day in history. I thought of you when I got the email today.
Oh,
on this day in history in 1847, or you can guess if you want. If not, I can just give it to you.
I'll guess.
1847, related to what we're talking about.
Okay, this involved race relations.
Sort of, kind of, but I would say no on the race relations. I would say no.
Was it an event that took place?
It's an event you've heard of. It's a popular thing.
Were there a lot of black people there?
I don't think so. Now, I don't necessarily have the demographics, but I'm going to say no.
Did this involve a president?
No, it didn't, but it involves my theory as to, or what my theory would be to what you've said about the demographics of, of the West. Was
Rosa Parks involved?
No, 1847. I don't think
was
Rosa
Harriet
Parks
Tubman involved?
No, that's more like the 60s, I think.
Was there an underground railroad?
No.
Was there any sort of railroad?
I'm sure there were maybe some railroads. I don't think it's really a factor.
Did this involve the California Gold Rush?
I would say yes.
Did it involve Western expansion of the United States?
Yes.
Did a state become official?
No.
Was San Francisco there?
I'm going to say no.
Was a bridge built?
No bridge, no San Francisco.
Was the Oregon Trail involved?
I'm going to say no. No. Oh my God, I don't know why this ad's popping up and playing with sound. Since when do we do this?
Was it the Trail of Tears? Did it have to do with Native Americans?
No, not that I mean, yes, Native Americans were around, I think, but they're not the main story.
Did people die?
Yep, lots of people died.
Were blankets involved?
I'm sure they covered up.
People froze to death?
Yeah, I'd say so.
This involved the cold?
Yeah.
Was a war part of this?
No.
Did people go hungry?
Yeah.
Was there a famine?
Yeah.
What was that? It was not the Dust Bowl. That was in the 30s. 1847. Was Ulysses S. Grant involved?
I don't think so. I'm just going to give it to you. It doesn't work as well.
Wild Wild West?
Yeah.
Did it have to do with that?
I don't think so.
No.
That was a weird movie, huh?
Yeah, I loved that movie when I was a kid. They had that.
I hated it.
You remember the giant mechanical spider thing?
Yeah, the ending was too weird for me. I didn't like it.
It was pretty weird.
I was wondering what had happened to my boy Will Smith. He had come on the scene. He had done such good work up until that point, and then he decided to throw it all away with Wild Wild West. And I didn't like the white guy that was in the movie with him either. I didn't find him to be very likable. But I do remember there was a big titty broad there in the movie though with him.
Yeah, I remember her too. I liked her when I was a kid. Yeah. Well, at least things have gone very well for Will Smith since then.
The Donner Party, rescued from the Sierra Nevada mountains. Are you familiar with the Donner Party?
No. Any relation to Jeffrey?
Sort of. No, Donner, Donn, not Dahmer.
Oh,
Donner.
Donner. Wasn't that one of the reindeer?
It was. I think that's what they named it after.
Donner and Blitzen, and I don't remember the lyrics, but
yeah. Yeah, they tried to take a shortcut on the way to California and got stuck in the mountains.
Oh no!
And they got stuck. They got stuck in an early winter storm and all stayed out there and pretty much froze to death. And I think a lot of people started eating each other and things of that nature.
Wow, that's kind of like Dahmer.
Yeah, yeah.
Dahmer, they both ate people. So I mean, that kind of checks out. Maybe that's where his name originated from. I don't know. But so they got
Again,
rescued.
Donner, not Dahmer.
Right, I know, but you know how translations can be kind of confusing, like over time, translation changes.
So yeah, 89 of them went out there and only 45 survived the winter storm.
Well, I feel like
So
those.
I just feel like a
45
lot of I feel like when you talk about stereotypes and tropes, going from the established society and trying to trek all the way to the west seems kind of like a white man's game. That's
Yeah,
like
for
a white
sure.
man thing. You know, the white people like to hike
Well, I feel
more
like
than more than our other brothers and sisters.
if you're one of the 45 that got rescued, you got to feel pretty fortunate, right? Because
No, they said they all went pretty delirious and went a little crazy watching their friends starve and freeze to death.
yeah, and eat each other. Okay, well that makes sense. Well, I mean, I'm just saying for that time to be in that place and time. You said it was 1847. Like, how did they even know they were there?
Because it was a big party, so I guess they had, maybe had been. I mean, I guess they would be either somebody maybe was expecting them, or people heard about the snowfall and wanted to check in. I don't know. It was like 20 days, and I guess they didn't show up. I don't know exactly how they found out they were there. It is weird because it's not like you can call somebody.
No, yeah, you can't even send out like an SOS or anything. I mean, it's 1847. I feel like it would be a pretty dark time, especially once you started seeing your peers like feasting on one another. You would feel like you were probably near the end.
Oh,
And so,
here's your answer. Sorry to cut you off. 15 of the stronger immigrants, later known as the Forlorn Hope, they set out west on snowshoes to try to go get help.
oh, okay, wow.
So
Heroes.
they went out in the middle of December. 7 of them made it to the Native American village, and I guess the Native Americans came and helped them.
Oh, well, that's nice of them, especially after all the rivalry there. At least there was no pillaging.
Yeah, maybe they're like, hey, these people are eating each other. Let's be nice to them. I don't know. But that's my answer. Is that the idea of our manifest destiny and going to the Pacific Ocean, that seemed like a white man's game.
Yeah, I think so for the most part. They were
And then like
probably
Utah in particular, I mean, isn't Joseph Smith from like Boston or something like that? Didn't Joseph Smith, the person who created Mormonism, isn't he from like the Northeast and just took all of his weirdos to Utah with him? Isn't that how that worked?
I don't know how all that started. I mean, I was always pretty skeptical of that because didn't they think that he was like a prophet, Joseph Smith? I mean, he didn't seem
Yeah.
like a prophet to me. Any guy named Joseph Smith, I don't think can be a prophet.
It would be easy to say that Joseph Smith was a stage name. Like actually, Jesus, but I just go by Joe Smith.
Yeah, maybe it's more believable. Like you relate to the common man a little better
Yeah, like
that way.
I
But
just made this name up myself. Clearly, now if Cody McClure, like, oh, that's a little too unique to be a stage name. But yeah, it's Joe Smith.
so
Sounds like a stage name.
they were just out there on their horses trying to find civilization and ended up trapped in the mountains. Did you see there was a video the other day of people at Starbucks on horses? Did you see that?
No, what state?
I don't know what state it was, probably Texas, but they went to the window on horseback and like the manager got really mad at them and there was a video of an argument with these two people on horseback like with their iced lattes. So I guess they did get served on horseback, but then like I guess the manager told them you can't come back here on horses, you have to have a car because they were
Go
afraid
now. Get out of here. Go.
they were afraid that the horses would shit in the drive-through.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, horses are kind of known for shitting wherever they please. You know, they're like San Francisco residents. I don't know if I think that would be strange, depending on where you were at, to see horses in the drive-through. But I don't know the drive-through. I had a problem at the drive-through yesterday. Speaking of drive-throughs, I've been doing these orders, grocery orders, and I was doing like some food delivery, like
Okay,
DoorDash.
so I didn't know what you were doing because the only story I heard about your delivery so far in California, as you're chasing your dream of becoming a celebrity, I only heard about you like hauling a printer or something for an office and having to take it, up like 10 flights of stairs. That's the only
Well,
story I've heard so far.
well, I did some food delivery because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out some better work, but that's a long story. I got to figure that out. But yesterday I was just doing DoorDash, and I went to this Taco Bell, and it was over somewhere like on the west side, and I went in the store to try to pick up these food orders, and I was in there for 20 minutes, so I was already agitated. And then, nobody was even addressing the delivery people in the lobby. So I was like, I'm just going to try the drive through. I stood in there for 20 minutes, and then I walked out and I got in my car and went through the drive through to try to pick them up. And so I was in the drive through, and the guy told me, he said, yeah, meet me at the window. No problem. Okay. So I get to the window, and it was two orders. And he said, one of the orders is ready, but the other one's not ready. And he said, I don't want to give you the frozen drink for the first order because the second order is not ready. And I was like, you know what? At this point, I'll just take the first order. I was like, just make the frozen drink and let me do that. And it was one of these guys that had like painted fingernails, one of these, non-binary types.
Rock stars?
No, no, no. Wasn't a rock star. I don't think you can be a
The
rock
guy
star.
just likes rock and roll and paints his fingernails. I mean, I feel like a lot of rock stars paint their fingernails. I've
I don't
seen
think
plenty of pictures with Mick Jagger and what's the other guy's name in the Rolling Stones? Kevin, with them having their nails painted. I've seen many of those.
Kevin. I don't. Yeah, but I don't think rock stars work the Taco Bell drive-through window. So
Well, they would
anyway,
say that no famous celebrities are doing deliveries. So how would you feel about that? No
I'm just
famous,
saying.
successful comedians are out driving around picking up food. That doesn't make you feel too good, does it?
I'm just saying. This guy was a certain type of guy. He had like the framed glasses, like
So he has bad eyesight.
Nah, he had like a personality. He's one of these pronoun people. That's all I'm saying. All right. And so
Do
we
you
end
not go
up.
by pronouns? Do you not go by he or him? Do you not? Those are pronouns,
My pronoun is stud. That's what I go by. I go by big stud, big
That's
man.
just a noun.
I think my pronoun would be big man because every time I see a homeless guy,
That's not a pronoun either. That's a nickname.
that's what all the homeless guys call me at the gas station when they're trying. Yo, big man. Yo, big man. You got any spare change for me? I ain't got
That
nothing.
would either be a descriptor or a nickname, not a pronoun.
Anyway, I'm trying to pick up these orders, okay, and the guy or they said to me, if you want to wait on the other order, you'll have to circle around and come in the store. And I said, no. I stood in the store for 20 minutes. Nobody addressed me. Nobody addressed anybody in there. And so then this guy has this look of like pride on his face, like he's gonna defend him and his employees at the Taco Bell. And he said, no, we're very good with our service here. We all this bullshit. And I said, look, I'm not coming back in that fucking store. I said, so either give me the first order or I'm going to sit right here in the drive-thru and wait on the second one. And I said, and he got an attitude with me. He said, look, unless you want to pay for the car behind you, though, it's $19.43 or whatever. You can pay for the guy behind you if you want. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm picking up these DoorDash orders. I'm here to pick up the orders. And he said, you have to come in the store, sir. I said, I'm not coming back in that fucking store. And we got in an argument to the point that, like, the tone was getting raised to the point that I saw another guy standing in there at the counter, and he was like with an expression on his face like, whoa, things are getting heated at the drive-thru. And he's like, sir, there's cars behind you. Can you please pull around? I said, absolutely not. I've been here for 30 minutes at this point. I'm not pulling back around. And he said, well, you can either, I don't remember what he told me. He said, you can either, come back around or you can leave. And I said, why don't you take those painted fingernails and call up a fucking manager? I said, why don't you take your painted fucking fingernails and use them to dial up a manager who can help me with this? And then he got very offended, and he said,
You borderline to hate. You just took it to a hate crime almost, though. So you lost the upper hand. I think once you got to that insult, you've officially lost the upper hand, and now you're teetering somewhere dangerous here.
I said, you can take those painted fucking fingernails and you can dial up a manager who can help me with this. So then this other dude comes around. I guess he actually got his manager. And I told him the situation. And the guy said, well, it's going to be a while in the second order. And I said, just give me the frozen drink for the first order and I'll take the first order. And he said, okay. And so they let me just take the first order. And I just canceled the second order.
You were scared to go back? You thought he was going to put his paws on you?
No, I wasn't scared. I wasn't going to wait for it. I'm not going to wait on that shit. These restaurants are terrible, dude. That's why I hate doing the food delivery. I mean, I got to figure out some other type of work. I lost my job on the. I'm doing. I'm doing a different grocery delivery service because I lost my job on the first one. And the first one actually, when I was going in the Targets, like getting people's. Like shopping for people, that was actually ended up being decent money because with the Prop 22 adjustment and everything, like I made like $1,200 one week. I was doing pretty good. And then the very next day, they let me know that I've been deactivated because I guess too many of my orders were late or something. So I had to sign up for another grocery service.
You weren't good enough at delivering groceries. You got fired from delivering groceries.
I got deactivated. All right, it's not funny. This is my livelihood at stake here.
How do you get fired from a job that you don't even get hired for?
Because
you just gotta sign up. That's it. You didn't have to interview. You have no boss, and you still got fired.
Hey, I had to pass a background check. I had to provide a social security number. Okay, there's measures you have to. I had to do an assessment.
Did you consider filing a grievance or an appeal?
I did file an appeal, and it was denied. Yeah.
Did you try to use your violent criminal victimhood as maybe as something that slows you down a bit?
No, the company was called Shipped. And they're based out of Alabama. Not that that's relevant, but you can file an appeal. But I was looking on Reddit, there's different Reddit threads on literally everything. And so it was like people who shop for Shipped. And they said, once they send you that deactivation thing, you're done. I mean, there's no getting it overturned. So I had to sign up for a different thing. It's been a pain in the ass, trying to make money. I'm going to have to get a real job, and I don't know what I'm going to do. DoorDash is not really working.
Have you considered being a bouncer?
No, I would just Uber, but I can't do my Uber because I've got to do it out here. You got to have a California driver's license, and I haven't gone through that whole process of the DMV. Like I looked into it on what to do to get my license transferred over. And they need like a proof of residence, which I don't have because I'm just living out of Airbnbs. And then they need like your real actual birth certificate. They won't even take a copy of it. And I don't have that. So
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, right now I'm doing DoorDash and this other...
You're going to get fired from DoorDash for a hate crime.
It wasn't a hate crime.
Yeah, once you brought the painted fingernails in, it became a hate crime. And especially when they play this audio and video back and see the way you talked about him being a pronoun boy or a pronoun whatever, he or she or it or they or them, I don't know, but you're going to get fired from this too.
Listen, I got no
My internet
problem.
isn't good enough for you to become just a professional podcaster. Although it's going well so far, knock on wood, this isn't going well enough for you to quit all your work and become a professional.
Listen, I've got no problem with the LGBTQ plus community, okay, except for the fucking attitude. All right? It's not the sexual stuff I have a problem with. You can do, I am all for, I'm very liberal in that way. I'm all for people doing whatever they want. You can blow all the cocks you want. You can,
Whoa!
you can dip testicles in your mouth, eat all the ass you want.
Whoa!
I don't care. I'm all for people doing whatever they want sexually. But the fucking sarcastic attitude I cannot deal with when I'm trying to work. I can't deal with that. And he was being very rude to me. They were being very rude to me. Very rude. So
Can you tell me more about getting fired from delivering groceries?
I
Were
told
you
you.
just getting the orders wrong? Could you not find where they were at inside the store? Like, how late are we talking? Were the ice cream just melted? Or because I imagine that you weren't like having to travel all the way across like town.
No,
And imagine they were all somewhat local.
you do have to travel. You have no idea how bad this traffic can be
No, I mean
out
I've
here.
heard of bad traffic in LA. I get it, but like an hour and a half, you should be able to get there by an hour and a half.
You order delivery service, somebody brings the shit right to your door. Your ice cream's a little melted. You should be happy. You should be happy that it even arrived, the way I see it. They
Was the
fu-
expectation that you would have like a cooler to put the cold stuff in?
No, you don't have to have a cooler. You just have to try to deliver them on time. We had these storms out here. There was one night when it was raining heavy. My windshield wipers were fucked up. I had to get some new windshield wipers. I mean, when the rubber peels off your windshield wipers and it's just slinging that thing across I couldn't see. We had flood water. I mean, there were a lot of things I tried to explain to them, and they didn't care. They didn't care. They'll get some other schmuck to do the orders. So I
There
need
was
work.
there,
I need a real job.
there was one night here in a rainstorm where one of my friends was trying to DoorDash food and it took about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It still hadn't made it, and the guy showed up on his damn bicycle, soaking wet. He had DoorDash like 10 miles on a bike in a rainstorm,
Yeah.
and he's still probably going to lose his job too. He had the effort. He was trying his heart out. But DoorDash was like, "Oh, here, take your food, take your money back, blah blah blah." But yeah, he had tried to ride all the way across town in a rainstorm on his bicycle.
Did you tip him?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was a friend.
Oh.
I don't order delivery food. I just drive to get it.
There's nothing more demoralizing than trying to do something like people would order like I mean I told you about people's crazy orders, but people would order like 5 cases of water. Okay, I had this one order where they ordered. I'm not shitting you, 5 cases of water, and they wanted me to bring it up to the 3rd floor. Okay, and there was an elevator. The place did have an elevator, but they wanted me to bring it to the 3rd floor. So I'll tell you how petty I am. I did it. I took all 5 cases up to the 3rd floor of this apartment building, and it was like in Beverly Hills. So I thought, at least I'll get a good tip out of this. I complete the order. I dropped the 5 cases off the door. I took a picture, and then once you complete it, it'll show you what your tip is. No tip. No fucking tip. Not $2, not $3. I'm talking 0 tip. So you know what I did?
I'm gonna guess you took the water and went
I took
somewhere
the
else
water
with it.
back. I took every case. I used my own physical labor just out of pure pettiness, and I took every case back down the elevator and I left them in the lobby. And I retook the picture in the lobby and I said, your water cases are in the lobby. You can come fucking get them.
I can't believe you got fired.
That's very shitty. I mean, it's one thing I would never ask someone to carry 5 cases up to the fucking 3rd floor anyway. I would never order 5 cases of water, but then to not even leave a tip on something like that.
Do you feel like it's karma for all the times you tried to rob Uber Eats
Probably.
by ordering a bunch of nice food and then saying it never arrived and getting a refund for it?
Yeah, probably.
Because the
Probably
person that
so.
delivered it to you, they didn't get paid because it never showed up, and they probably got in trouble on the app for not bringing the $100 food.
I never did that. I don't know what you're talking about. But
You did it enough where they kicked you off of Uber. They wouldn't even let you ride Uber anymore.
I got that sorted out. I'm back on Uber. I can at least take rides. I just can't now. I can't drive Uber. So because of this license issue, I can't Uber. I can't even do Uber Eats. DoorDash is not busy enough. So I'm working for this other service where I got to go to the store like in Santa Monica or Culver City and pick up there and try to deliver these packages, and it's just not worth the gas, really. I mean, it helps a little bit that they have this Prop 22 adjustment. You can make a little bit of money, but it's not going to be enough to survive. I need a job. I need a real job.
You need to talk more about how tipping culture it stems from slavery and slave culture. You need to start a movement. You need to be the face of it. That could be your job. Become a grifter.
Be
Because
the
it's
face
true.
of slavery.
No, no, no. Of trying to outlaw the tipping culture we have in America because it is rooted in our racist slave history.
I don't know, man.
No, it's true. It's true. The tipping setup was so that employers didn't have to pay newly free black people in the South. That's how it happened.
That's how
It's
tip
true.
culture started.
Yeah, yeah. So that the store owners and business owners wouldn't have to pay their employees. Again, they didn't want to pay the freed slaves. Look it up. Google it. It's true.
I don't know.
That's the reason it's here in America, and that tip culture and the rest of the parts of the world aren't the same.
Well, they had slaves in other places, though.
Yeah, but I guess they were nicer to the slaves after they got freed. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know. I don't know how long. I don't know how long it took these other places to free their slaves. I don't know.
Some places they never did.
When
There's
you were
like,
telling the story about the drive-through menu, I was thinking about the drive-through window. I was thinking about my mom. It's one of my favorite memories of my childhood. Is we went to a Wendy's one night before church. It was a Wednesday night before church, and we were trying to order a kid's meal and substituted out the drink for a Frosty. And
oh,
she had a similar back and forth with the person at the window or at the speaker. Where the person's like, "Well, we can't sub it out." It's like, "Okay, well, can you just?" Can I pay an upcharge for it or whatever? And they're like, no. She's like, well, can you just not give me the drink and I'll pay for a separate Frosty? And the woman's like, no. So eventually it led to my mom saying, okay, I got a better idea. How about you take the Frosty and you shove it up your ass? And I never will forget.
that's a cold treat.
I never will forget driving by the window and this big old woman trying so hard to climb out of the window to get at my mom. And
Oh
my
my
mom
God.
flipping her off as we drove by. And
I
then
hope
how
your
mad my mom got when I told the story at church when we made it to church that night.
I hope your mom at least used the proper pronouns when she was talking to this person.
She just said you. She just said you.
You people.
No, 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 just you. How about you take that Frosty and you shove it up your ass? I never will forget it.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but on last week's podcast, I had a comment where I said that I empathize with these fast food workers because they work hard. I went 0 to 60 on that one. I did a 180 on that one
There you go.
completely.
There you go. That's the better
It's
the
all
better
about
phrase.
the experience you have with people, man. I mean, there's some people that are just shitty, and it's hard to deal with them. And it's like, I don't know. You know that everybody talks about the Southern hospitality thing and how in other places people are rude and stuff. I haven't really had that experience out here for the most part. I've met nice people, and like people are just as nice here for the most part that I've met. But I have had two experiences in the last week with just very rude people. The one was at the drive-through, and then I didn't tell you about
Again, you had a little bit of a hate crime though. So I mean,
it's not a hate crime. I didn't assault the person.
verbally.
Well, that's protected under the First Amendment. But I had another incident with a lady.
I don't think hate crimes are protected under the First Amendment, just for the record.
Well, they should be, but I had another issue with a lady. It wasn't an issue at all, but just I met like my first rude person out here there was this woman who was, when I was doing one of these, again, I was doing one of these delivery services, and she was there at the store waiting to pick up too. And I parked behind her, and I noticed her back glass in front of me. She had like window stickers, and one of them said University of Tennessee. So she had like different stickers of, I don't know if it's like her kids that went to colleges. You know, you see these people, it's like Tennessee, and then there was Purdue or whatever. And so I was coming out of the store, and I saw her sticker, and I kind of looked at her, and she had her window cracked, and she was looking at me too. And I just kind of waved at her, and then she said, were you going to say something to me or something? And I said, oh yeah, I saw your sticker. I saw your on your back glass at Tennessee. I said, go Vols or whatever. I said, I'm from Tennessee. And she just said, yeah, and rolled her window up. I was like, why is someone that rude? Like I said, I liked your sticker. And she looked at me and gave me this like side eye, and she said, yeah, and rolled her window up. I'm like, fuck you, you cunt. I was just trying to compliment. I was like, I don't know, man. Some people are rude.
Are you lonely?
Yeah.
Are you this desperate for a human interaction that you're talking to strangers? It might not have been her car.
Well,
maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she had a tough day. Are you that desperate to relate to somebody that you go to a Tennessee bar to watch a basketball game? You talk to this random person, or actually don't even talk to them. You just stare at them for a bit to the point of making them uncomfortable. You give them a thumbs up, and now you're offended that she didn't have a big conversation with you.
I didn't even want a conversation. I was just trying to. It's like when you talk to the war veterans. You're just trying to be nice. I saw something I related to.
Sometimes people don't want to talk. Sometimes when I've tried to strike up the conversation with these old men in the gym, they don't want to talk about anything. They want to be left alone.
Yeah, clearly.
And I usually don't stare at them in a weird way before to the point where it makes someone. You stared at her enough that it made her uncomfortable, that she felt like she had to address it and ask what you wanted.
I don't know. For the most part, my interactions have been friendly and nice, but every now and then you run into someone who's just not feeling it, I guess. But I don't know. There was this. I went in this burger place the other day.
Is all you do eat and go to fast food places?
It was a local burger place. It wasn't fast food.
Well, I know the Taco Bell story though.
Well, I was picking up the order. I'm trying to make money. Anyway, I went to this burger place the other day, and I saw there was a Mexican guy in there, and so there were these.
I don't think you knew whether or not he was from Mexico either, just by looking at him.
Well, just hear me out. There were these two older Mexican guys working. Okay, Hispanic. There were these two Hispanic guys working the register, and there was another Hispanic guy that came up to order. And the two guys working the cash register just started speaking Spanish to him. And he was like a younger Mexican dude. And he said to them, no habla español. So he's a Mexican guy that didn't know Spanish. And the look of disappointment on the two older guys' faces were like, we've got a guy in the younger generation that doesn't even know our language. And it's like when you see
Are we sure he was Hispanic?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he appeared to be, he appeared to be. But he told him no habla español, which is obviously not true because he knew that. But
I think he could have said sí or no.
He just did his order in English. And
he might not want to talk. He might not want to talk. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable enough to make a full-ass order in Spanish. I don't know.
I love Spanish as a language. The more that I've been out here, you hear it all the time because everybody here speaks Spanish. I wish that English was like, I wish that I could hear English and not know what it was. Do you ever feel that way? Like, I wish I could hear people speaking English just from like another culture. Like if I didn't speak
just
English,
go to one of those townships or whatever, and in England. Just go to one of those cities that they have really thick accents, and you won't be able to understand them. Go down to Australia, where they say weird stuff, and you won't be able to understand. It'll sound
I
like
think
English, but you won't know what the fuck they're talking about.
yeah, but you know what?
You belly bloke, isn't it? Look at what it is.
I mean, I
What
wish
is
I
it?
could. I wish
What's
for
all this?
I just wish for a day that I could forget all the English I know and then just hear our language spoken by other people. Do you think that I don't think it would flow as good as Spanish though.
Have you
Because
ever heard a
Spanish
rap
has
song?
that.
Have you ever heard rock and roll? Have you ever heard spoken poetry? It flows pretty well. It flows good.
Yeah, it doesn't have that same like energy that Spanish has though.
Have you ever heard a Rage Against the Machine song?
You know, another thing that I don't like that I
Have you ever
don't
watched a
get.
Reed's Ranch video?
There's another thing that I don't get because I've been around English my whole life, but like I don't know how to do an American accent. You ever see those videos of people in other countries and they're like imitating an American? Because we have an accent, but we don't even realize it.
You just talk.
I know, but you know what I'm saying?
You're doing an American accent right now.
I know, but it sounds so normal because it's us.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, pretend you're in China. Like, you and me are in Wuhan, okay? And we're Chinese. And someone asks us to do.
Frank, stay over there.
Someone asks us to. That's xenophobic. Someone asks us to do like an American impression. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that sound like? Like, try it. Pretend you're Chinese. Be a Chinese guy and imitate an American.
I'm gonna go get a credit card and watch football.
Yeah, like is that would that be funny to Chinese people?
Well, there was a TikTok video of a guy doing just that because he was Chinese and people kept doing his imitation. So he made his eyes go straight. He like poked them out. I was like, "This is my credit card," and that's what he tried to do.
He made his eyes big.
Yeah, like to counteract the racist stereotype the other way. But he made his eyes big and spoke, "This is a credit card." It was a pretty funny video. I laughed at it.
I wish I could experience that and like the authenticity of it.
It seems as if you are probably, how long would you say before you're evicted? Have you paid for everything up front, or at the top of the month? Are you going to owe $1,500 that you don't have, or what are we looking at?
Well, everything is paid for at this point, but like in mid-March, I got to leave here.
Well, maybe you go to Mexico.
I can't afford that.
It's cheap. Just go live somewhere cheap, and you can get a job at a resort.
My passport's not updated. I don't have.
Just sneak in.
Just go the other way.
Yeah, just sneak in.
I'll have my raft on the Rio Grande, and I'll be meeting people coming the other way. They'll say, "No, senor, you're going the wrong way." I say, "No, I'm trying to get into your country."
You should do it.
You got forget. Yeah, we don't need a wall. We need alternate pathways.
Just a revolving door. It goes both ways.
I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You could go work at a resort, and you get to live out your dream of eating tacos and not understanding the language. It'll be great.
You can do that in L.A.
Well, I know, but you said you want to not be able to understand the language, so just go there. But you can't work in L.A. You can't afford, and you can't get a job there.
I don't know. I might have to move to Compton or something. I'll be living in Watts. Gunshot Alley. I don't know. Didn't you say you know some people out here? You got any connections? I could use a job. I reached out to Christopher Gabriel, the guy that goes on the drive.
Yeah.
Because he lives in Fresno. And he hooked me up with a guy out here who was... I talked to him on the phone about trying to do some work like selling cabinets or something, but I haven't heard back from him.
And you didn't follow up? You're never going to get a sales job by not following up, because I guess they want to see if you can follow up with clients. That's what sales is. You got to follow up like 7 times before you make a sale.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
It would have been nice had you taken that guy up on his voiceover work gig. You could have been doing voiceover work.
There probably wasn't much money in that. I mean, I assume there's not a lot of money in that, but I don't know. Maybe I should become a writer.
Have you considered selling drugs?
No, because the penalties, the risk reward, like because you can't just sell weed anymore because it's
It's true.
legal out here.
You got to be able to sprinkle the fentanyl on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to sell coke or something harder than weed, and the prison time is just, it's more significant if it's a class A drug, and
Yeah, and people would be looking at you like lunch meat. They'd eat you up. You'd get robbed right when you started getting something going. They'd have you robbed before
yeah,
you're able to before you're
yeah,
able to make anything move.
and I already don't like delivering in bad neighborhoods, so
Have you considered moving back to Tennessee?
uh, I don't know about that. The one good thing about Tennessee is I would be able to Uber immediately in Tennessee. I thought about trying to get to
Have you
Texas.
considered just going to get a new license?
Have you considered killing yourself? I thought about just trying.
I don't have to ask that. I assume I know the answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would just get a new license, but I told you the issue with that. I told you the issue. I got to have a birth certificate, which I don't have, and I got to have proof of residence, which I don't have. So I'm between a rock and a hard place. What I need is a steady apartment so I can prove my residence. But to get that, I'm going to need, $3,000 for the first month's rent and deposit.
So none of the bills there in your name.
No, I'm in an Airbnb.
Yeah, so none of the bills.
Which on one hand is a good thing because I have the flexibility to leave whenever I want, but I don't know. It's always something, man. I ain't got work. The diabetes is flaring up. That's another thing. You know how when I was hospitalized for cocaine abuse a few years ago, they told me that I had diabetes. And I've been noticing something lately. My gums are bleeding a lot.
I don't know if that's from the diabetes or from the years of abusing dip and tobacco. I don't know if I'm going to pass that off. I've never read the side effects, though. I don't know. I don't know what happens without the insulin you need.
I got to researching diabetes, and I've had this rash on my cheeks.
Oh yeah, you look awful. Yeah, you look awful.
Well, I don't.
I figured it was just stress.
Well, it's not really flared up right now, so I don't know if it's. I'd say awful right now, but anyway, so like I started looking into diabetes, and it turns out a lot of these problems I have, I think, might come from diabetes. People with diabetes, their gums bleed a lot. They get skin rashes. I get this numbness in my feet sometimes where I can't feel my big toes. So the diabetes is flaring up. So I don't know. The best I can figure, what I need to really do is focus on the comedy and focus on eating right. And the money will come. Because I don't, like when I'm breaking down in my mind what I need to focus, like what I need to be doing, it's like, obviously I need to improve my health. I need to focus on the comedy and I need to make money. And if I can't make money, I need to at least really go hard on the other two. So
it's one of those triangles. You can't do all three. You can only get two out of the three. You can either make money and focus on your health, or you can, well, in your case, it might be one of the three. I don't know. Like, make money, focus on health, work on comedy. Well, work on comedy and focus on your health, because you're not like drinking and stuff when you go on stage, right? You're just doing it sober and relaxing.
I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking at all.
Okay, so there you go. Just eat better and work on the comedy, and then the money, it'll work itself out.
Yeah, I don't know. I have been, the eating better has been pretty good last week or so. So
well, now that we're talking money, I didn't want to bring it up, but have we made any progress on the $465 you owe me?
You sound like my dad. Every time I'd really be struggling, like with some sort of money issue, not able to pay the rent, just trying to survive, my dad would always hit me up with like hey, you're getting pretty close to your data plan on the phone bill this month. I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's like the last thing I need. My mother too. The other day, I got one of these red light tickets here. Somewhere, my mother did the same shit to me the other day. I got one of these red light tickets somewhere like in Culver City, And so that's a city inside the city. So they have like their own traffic regulations, and they've got the traffic cameras. And you know how, like in Tennessee, I used to get those all the time in Tennessee and just, toss them because you don't have to pay them. But out here, I think you got to pay them.
I don't know if you do or not, because I think the crux of the argument in Tennessee was that it was unconstitutional because you don't get a day in court.
Well, they sent the ticket. They mailed it to my house because I moved my address back to my mom's house because I don't have a permanent address. And so I
Sure.
got that in the mail the other day, and she's like freaking out about it. I'm like, Mom, that's on my list of shit to worry about. That's like number 104, Like, it's not even a concern. And she's just on my ass about it. And so it's always something, man. It's always something.
So it sounds to me like you got about a month and a week left of your California experiment.
I can't even get a haircut out here. I was in like on the west, like around Westwood, Brentwood, somewhere over there. And I was, on your phone, on the Apple Maps, you can just type in haircut, like search nearby. Every fucking place I called, it's like $40, $60. I called up this one guy. I was like, can you get me in? I just want a regular buzz cut. I'm just trying to get my hair, clean cut. It'll take 5 minutes. And the guy said, yeah, we can get you in. I was like, how much will that run me? He said, $65. I just hung up the phone. So I don't know if the Great Clips out here charge a premium or not, but I'm just going to have to go to Great.
You can get you some clippers for about $20.
Yeah, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I know you don't keep up with haircut prices, but...
Well, it's funny. I was just talking to my co-host, Bob, my radio co-host, Bob, about his haircuts. He was going to get one today. He says he goes and gets trimmed up every 2 weeks, and I was asking him.
Bob still has hair?
Yeah, and he said he gets trimmed up about every 2 weeks for about $20 a pop. He says $20 every... $20, and then 2 weeks later he'll pay $30. So he basically pays $50 a month.
Yeah,
but he keeps it looking good. But you could just get you some clippers and keep you a guard on there and just buzz cut if that's all you're looking for.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but I don't have Bob money.
Well, I know. I'm saying. I was saying I was talking about haircuts because you said I didn't want to talk about haircuts, and I was just saying. Well, I was actually talking about that earlier today, strangely enough. But again, get you some $20 clippers and just cut your own hair.
Get some $20 clippers and cut my own throat.
I don't know if they're sharp enough. I've tried a couple of times just to see if I press hard what would happen. Nothing ever happens.
I had an aunt that did that. She ended up dying of cancer, but before
has she already been diagnosed?
Well, no, before the cancer came, she was like a great aunt. One of my grandma's sisters, but she had tried to kill herself.
I've never had a great aunt. They're usually just kind of average at best.
Mediocre aunt, yeah. There's your Thursday joke. She had tried to kill herself with a knife like several times. Like multiple times, at least twice that I remember as a kid. She had like literally slit her own throat trying to kill herself. I'm like, if you're that unhappy, like if you're going to kill yourself, you got to be a little smarter, don't you? You got to do something. Like, don't fucking take a knife to yourself. Jesus Christ.
Well, and then your punchline, and then you could tell that story. And like, well, she wasn't that good of an aunt. She wasn't that great of an aunt after all. Thinking back on it, mediocre at best. And then ha ha ha. But well, yeah, because like the women that like want to kill themselves, they typically don't do the painful things. They do the pills.
Yeah.
And they want as little pain as possible. But it sounds like she was actually cutting her throat, which. I've never heard of anyone slitting their own throat for attention, not trying to die. So that seems kind of crazy. Did someone just like immediately find her and like get her treated, or
I don't know.
Did she get halfway through and just change her mind and stop, or what?
I don't know. I was just a kid, but I remember it was a traumatic thing when I was a boy. Like the family took it pretty hard. It's like I've got a lot of dark shit like that in my family, though. A lot of like violence. Like I have a violent history on both sides. Like on my dad's side, my great grandmother and grandpa, it was a murder suicide, and like my granddad's brother found him, So I guess that my great grandma had caught my great grandpa cheating on her or something. And one night he turned around to go to the bathroom. They were sitting in the bed and he got up to go pee or something. And he turned around to go to the bathroom and she fucking shot him in the back of the head and then killed herself.
The bad news is you don't even have a woman out there that could put you out of your own misery.
I was waiting to see what you were going to come up with there.
You
Yeah.
got to do it yourself. You don't even have a woman out there that'll do you the favor of doing it for you.
Yeah. I don't even have anybody that'll kill me. Maybe I could try to get carjacked again.
You can play the long game, go down to Vaseline Alley and just, it might take 10 or 15 years, but it'll get you.
I'd go down to Crenshaw and just open up all four doors and just sit there waving around a wad of money. It'll be all once, but
you got to get the wad of money first.
yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? I got to say, this was a very depressing podcast. Some would even call it problematic. I don't know, but I will say that it was the smoothest podcast we've done. The video worked. My microphone is in the shot. I've looked crystal clear. And to the best of my knowledge, the internet didn't act up one time. So my hours, it wasn't an hour, it was about a 30-minute phone call with Spectrum seems to have done the trick.
Nice. Yeah. It seems like everything went well.
We have now mastered the art of podcasting.
I'm so happy about this podcast. This
now
might end up being the highlight of my life.
Now Cody's last happy moment is him smiling right here. Now we just got to figure out a way to make some money. We got to figure out. Maybe I'll make some merch and I'll send you your half of the proceeds.
This unpaid podcast is the best thing going for me right now.
Once I get my $460 recouped, I'll start sending you some allowances.
Oh no, don't worry about me. I'll be all right. There's a lot of resources for the homeless here.
Yeah, but I'm worried about. I guess will your parents keep paying for your cell phone at least if you're out and about? Like, will you at least be able to like charge and have internet access and such for us to pod? I mean, the content. I can't think of there being too many podcasts that record live at the homeless shelter or out under the bridge. I mean, that could be your niche.
Yeah, and I drove down by Skid Row the other day, and like it seemed like there was some space on the sidewalk. Like it's not just completely. Which I don't think I'll be able to afford my own tent, but the sides of the brick buildings look pretty clean. So I think I could lean up against the side of one of those buildings and be all right.
At least you got a fallback plan. It sounds good.
And Skid Row's kind of in a nice area because it adjoins right to Little Tokyo. So I can probably make my way into some of those back alleys of like the Japanese restaurants and get some leftover hibachi and stuff like that. So that's something to look forward to.
Have you looked into the underground sumo fighting competitions there?
No, is that a thing?
Baby, it's something that you should look into at least.
I don't know if my knees can handle it anymore.
I'm not saying you got like a long career ahead of yourself, but just at least keep some food on the table. Maybe they'll feed you. At the very least, like a trainer will be like take you under his wing and get you on a regiment.
10 years ago, I would have been a bad motherfucker as a sumo wrestler. Seriously. I've told you about, we used to do that drill in football. We called it the Ring of Pain. And it was just you and another guy one-on-one in a circle. And whoever gets knocked out of the circle loses. It's basically sumo wrestling. I was the fucking champ. But again, that's,
you were going up against people in your high school. I think it's a little different.
That's going on a decade and a half ago. My knees have taken some damage since then.
And it's not like you were going up against the other badasses from the other schools. It was just your school.
No,
so I don't know if
you guys.
I don't know if you being the best in rural Arkansas would have translated to you being a quote bad motherfucker when it came to sumo wrestling. I don't know if I'm ready to make that leap yet, but I'm ready to get off here. But I'm a little worried that when we hang up, I might not see you again.
No, you'll see me again. I won't. I'm not going to kill myself. I like living too much. So,
do you have any stand-up comedy updates for us, or any any content to add at the end of the podcast.
I'll be on the Sunset Strip this week. I'll be performing comedy live on the Sunset Strip all week.
Okay.
Maybe Santa Monica tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be going up there talking about my life and how well it's going.
Did you do anything this weekend?
Yeah, I went. When did we talked Thursday, right? So
yeah, briefly Thursday night.
I went up Thursday and Friday, and then I again did not go up on the weekend. But I don't know, pretty average sets. I know you want to include those from time to time on the podcast, but I need.
No, I said once every 2 weeks or so. So don't worry about today. Just
what if I bomb though? Are we going to put those on there? Will that be good content? Like,
I mean, you can either put them up there of you bombing, or you can go in and edit laughs in. Just put a little laugh track behind you.
Can't do that. I've recorded like 3 or 4, but the only one I felt comfortable that was kind of decent was that one I sent you.
Well, that's your assignment this week, is to come up with another good set by next Monday.
Yeah, I'll get a good 5 minutes this week.
Now that I finally feel like we got this figured out, I look forward to talking to you on Thursday. We'll come with an actual formatted show of sorts, although I enjoyed talking to you.
Okay, yeah, good talking to you. Any job recommendations would be appreciated, so let me know if you hear anything.
I'll see what my boy Brian, if he's got any jobs as like a security or like.
Oh yeah, I can
something.
do security.
He works in the entertainment industry out there, like on TV shows and stuff.
Oh, nice. What companies you work for?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, if I could get maybe like a TV job somewhere around Burbank, that would be it'd be ideal.
Something. Do you think you could be like Jay Leno's number 2 or something?
I'm looking for something like at least $80K a year, somewhere in there. That's about what I need out here. So.
Okay, I'll see what I could do.
All right, sounds good. How are things with you? You doing good?
It's fine. Thanks for asking.
Okay. All right. We'll catch up Thursday.